Test 1 to 3. I'll be waiting for the YouTube connection to start. Connection to my OBS. So that the stream will be broadcasted. Okay, YouTube is working. Waiting for Steam as well. Come on, Steam, come on. There it is. Steam is working as well. So both YouTube and Steam are functioning. Next. Checking the stream. Audio seems to be broadcasted or outputted fine. Well, I guess we can proceed. So, I'm Beholder. This is Adrorium, a space survival / spaceship simulator game. This is gonna be the last day of the for the Steam Space Exploration Festival, and for today I'll probably be doing the campaign, but before that I'll try to do the trainings session, so that any new player can get accustomed to how to finish the how to learn the basics for Adrorium quickly. So let's name this. Nah, I'll leave it as it is. So, training. In this game type, you learn the basics needed to play this game. Just follow the instructions from the mission panel. Okay. Uh, Welcome to the training. Let's get you started on the basics. First, press G to enable your personal thrusters. Okay. And press G again to enable your magnetic boots. Remember, the game uses standard controls. WASD move, space jump, shift run, control crouch. Okay. Next, press L to toggle your flashlight. Okay. On your belt, you have a PDA. Use it to view the map of the galaxy and of the sector, to see the crew and to keep track of the missions. Go ahead and give it a look. Press tilde to scroll to it and press left mouse button. Okay. So this is the PDA. Press tab to open your inventory and move the 3 new items ration, bottle, antibiotics to your belt. Refill the bottle at the water tank, after that consume them. So this is the inventory. You have your crafting panel, your ship inventory. You can store things to the ship and you retrieve them quickly. And the equipment is not implemented. Here you'll also see the interaction with the inventory. So this is a different tab. Sneeze. Okay, it went away. Let's follow the mission. Put these 3 items to the belt and use the empty water bottle to refill it at the water tank. You have several tanks here because this is, in the end, it's a spaceship, and spaceships need several things to function, including boosters or engines, RCS to control the orientation, sensors. We have the antenna dish here, some player related blocks like a bathroom, a bunk, batteries, of course, because we need power, and most importantly, an airlock, because you might want to get out of the ship at some point, and the fuel tanks, or the fluid tanks, including oxygen for survival so you can breathe inside, hydrogen to power up the boosters, and water to power various mechanisms like the RCS. So let's fill up the water and consume all 3 items. First is the ration, second is the water, and third are the antibiotics. So, to reduce your tiredness and toilet needs, use the toilet and sleep in the bunk bed. F is the interaction key. Open doors by pressing on the orange release lever. So this is the release lever. Right now doors aren't powered, so you have to manually open them. Like, have to press buttons and pry them open. We might open them by we might power them up and automate them in the future. So the next step is to sleep and to use the bath. Let's use the bath first. You have two things you can interact with. It doesn't matter which one you use. You can either use the uh, WC or the sink. And let's also sleep for a bit. Next, crafting. You have the required ingredients for crafting screwdrivers. 2 screwdrivers. Press tab and craft them. In crafting panel, add tools tab. So I mentioned this is the crafting panel. You have tabs for multiple recipes. They are grouped based on the type of thing that they are crafting. And the next thing is to craft 2 screwdrivers. 1, 2. Now, with them, keep one and with the other craft a workstation and build it somewhere around. Don't forget to check what new recipes you can craft at it. You can rotate blocks only before building them, so be careful with that. Okay, so I have to craft the workstation. Place it down here is fine. Rotate it a bit and also interact with it. And gradually you'll see way more recipes inside. And as you go through each tab, you'll find out there are actually more tabs because there are more types of blocks, including tools, electronics, materials, recycling, and some combat blocks. Next, now craft and build a furnace. As before, you have the required ingredients in your inventory. One furnace coming along, and we'll build you here and interact with it. Do you like the current design of the ship? If no, go ahead and extend it or remove parts with any tool. The combi drill is faster than the screwdriver. You can also use the screwdriver, the welder, or the plasma welder, but right now the best we have is the combi drill. Also, you can build internal walls. Items in inventory, try building on the same deck, otherwise the deck separators will hide the hole from other decks. So if I try to build underneath, I'll do that now. Can I also see that? Yes, I can. So I've built something below here, and you can see the deck below, but there's not. Well, you can. I removed the deck separator, and you can now see the deck below. This is how you build below and above. Let's build above as well. So we've built 2 more decks right now. Let's build in this side as well. That's how you remove. So left click builds, right click removes, or left click extends the hole, right click insets the hole. You also get all the items back, so don't worry if you added or built into direction that you didn't want it. Next, one key aspect of this game is upgrading and dismantling. Just a second, there are also walls, so you can build walls too. Because you can have the outer hull, which is this thick piece here that separates the outside from the inside, and then you can have walls which are thinner and are mostly cosmetical. Yep, that's the word. So you can separate things in your ship, like have different rooms or different zones. They don't hold pressure, so if the ship gets depressurized, this won't stop the loss of pressure. Quick remove them, and I don't think I want that hole there, so I'll just remove that. The hole is still there because I have to manually go and remove it, but that's a bit harder. We'll just leave them as it is. So now let's continue. One key aspect of this game is upgrading and dismantling. Upgrading can be done with any tool such as screwdrivers, combi drills, or welders. Some are faster than others. To experience it for yourself, craft a cabinet, upgrade it, craft a cabinet, build it, upgrade it to max level, then dismantle the chair with a screwdriver or combi drill. So, as you've heard, the Adrorium relies a lot on upgrading. So you build a block, you can dismantle it, and you get all the items back on your ship. If you're boarding a hostile ship, you won't get all the items back because you didn't build that block and you don't know how that works. So on hostile ships, you are scrapping. On your own ship, you are dismantling, and on your own ship, you are getting the ingredients back, so you can recraft, replace, and reposition, so or rebuild the block somewhere else if you need to. So you don't have to worry about making mistakes. If you build a booster in a place you didn't want to, just take it, scrap it, disassemble it, and rebuild it wherever you want. So we've built the iron plates. Let's upgrade it. It says to upgrade 2 times up to a small cargo box. Oh no, up to a cargo box, it says right here. And also I want to dismantle the chair. This is a spoiler because in the future here we will be placing the cockpit. So training step 12. Let's get down to business. The ship is equipped with batteries and thrusters, but in order to use them you need consoles. They are in your inventory, but build them? Be careful, once built they can't be moved. Build them on the sides of the bridge. So we received several consoles, and let's build as the instruction says, and it says to build them on the sides. The reason is to not build them in the front, because if you build them in the front or below, here is gonna be the cockpit, and the cockpit will block the access to the consoles. So let's build them on the side. Each console can be built on a specific side, so energy and tactical can be built on the left side, and the other two, propulsion and electronics, can be built on the right side only. That is just to have more space for all the consoles. So we build all of them. Next, power up the electronics console, and from there the antennas. Then power the propulsion console, and airlocks. So let's start with the electronics console. They are neatly named, and they are also color coded. So green for electronics, magenta for propulsion, and yellow for energy, and red for tactical. Let's power the electronics console, and it says to power up the antennas. In the electronics console you have the mainframe that deals with automation, like automatic target assignment, automatic target tracking, automatic firing, so on. You also have the alerts, lots of autopilot functions, and some other smaller consumers like lights, medical pods, screens, and antennas. Let's power the antennas. Antennas are going to be used for tracking hostile targets, for seeing where they actually are, for getting a new target, for plotting and initiating journeys to distant parts of the sector, for passing on a target lock to a rocket or to a missile, so that missile can track that targets, and that's mostly it. Also for docking, antennas are used for docking. Great. Now that the sensor part of the startup sequence is done, let's follow the other part, the propulsion. So you have about four big propulsion methods. One is the FM drive, which will allow you to move from sector to sector. One are gyroscopic stabilizers, which allow you to rotate the ship using electricity. And then you have the boosters and the RCS. Boosters are going to be used for the beef of navigation. If you want to go somewhere far, you just boosters are the blocks in the back, these two. I don't know if you can get a better look at them. So they are used for high power thrust. You'll be using them when you go to a distant part of the sector, when you want to navigate the planet and you need a lot of force. And the last thing are the RCS thrusters, which are these small protrusions outside of the ship. Can I get on top of the bank? No, of the bunk to see them? Yes, I can hear. So they'll be used to slightly rotate and translate your ship. Let's, as the training step says, or as the mission says, let's power them up. They're very easy to power. Just press the power buttons for each of them, and the automatic settings will be applied, so you don't have to tweak with other settings. If you want, you can switch between modes of operation or power output of each of them, but that's a thing for a different. That's a topic for a different mission. So now that we've powered the No, I actually did them in the wrong order. So the thing was that I had to power the elevators, no, the airlocks and the pseudocks for this objective. So airlocks, which are these blocks here, are used to, actually I think you know what an airlock is. You just open one side, then open the other, and you can go outside. It just prevents the leakage of the internal atmosphere. So let's power them up. When they are powered up, you don't have to use the manual release lever to open the doors. You can just use the automatically use the controls. They also have a very nice sound effect. You cannot go outside without a suit, just for security measures. So that's the airlock. You can also manually control them, remotely control them from this console. You can also dock with the airlock is used for docking, so it has few clamps. One of them is there, and one of the other is there. Oh, we can also see the booster. So the airlock is also used for docking, but I don't think, yeah, there's no docking in this tutorial. So that's the airlock. Then there's the suit dock. And the suit dock is gonna be used to store your suit. We'll be getting one soon. This is how it's gonna look like. You have to basically build it, and while it is powered, you can store your suit in the suit dock, and the suit dock will replenish the oxygen from the suit. Now that that mission is finished, let's get to the next one. Great. Also start the energy console to have basic energy status information available. Remember to keep an eye on it. So the other console that we didn't open so far is this energy console. This is slightly more nicer looking because it's a more fleshed out one. I had more time to work. This was also the first console that had this design, and it had several iterations, and it's more of a final design, final working design. It might get changed in the future. So on this console you have different sub panels that each control a specific subsystem, like transformers that convert from different grids, fuel cells that use hydrogen and oxygen. Yeah, hydrogen and oxygen to create electricity and also make water. Electrolyzers, which are the opposite of fuel cells. Solar panels, if you can have some, if you craft some. Generators, which are basic, very basic fuel cells but more inefficient. Turbines and fission reactors for generating plasma and powering up the main grid, and some other high power plasma generation hardware. On the lower side of the console, you have a screen indicating all the free uh, power grids, plasma, main, and auxiliary grid, the currently stored energy level for each of them, and the consumption and consumption and production for that grid, and the time to fill or time to deplete. Right now, because we only powered uh, free consoles and the antennas and the airlock, we have about 10 hours of operational runtime. But don't worry about that. You'll be getting a lot of energy, and once you craft perhaps a solar panel and reactor and a turbine, you'll be getting a lot of energy. You can also take energy from several other sources, so do not worry about energy. In terms of you'll run out, don't worry about that. As long as you keep an eye on it and get energy where you're supposed to be getting it from, you'll be just fine. And on the lower central part of the console, you have the actual stats for who or what is consuming and how much. So you have the I mentioned the free grids. The auxiliary grid is the grid that has very low voltage, and most consumers tackle from this grid, like screens or antennas. They just need a low amount of power, low amount relative to how much power there can be in a ship. Then you have the main grid, where only the heaviest consumers eat from, like the MFM drive shields or the railguns. These use a lot of power, and for that you also need higher voltages. So you can also use transformers to output from one grid to another in the boost or buck mode, if you want to increase the voltage or decrease the voltage from one grid to another. So in this screen we can see for each individual grid who consumes and who what consumes and who what generates for each of the three grids. That being said, let's continue to the training step. So let's start the thrusters or the RCS and the boosters. I mentioned them earlier and what they do. Perfect. Now build a cockpit from your inventory in front of the in the frontmost spot of the ship. Sit down on it by pressing F and power it up. So we got a cockpit. Let's place it down, and you'll see that there is a main weird I don't know how it's called, the aura or a outline of a screen. There are physical screen and some controls. By pressing F you can sit down, and let's power up the cockpit. Don't get overwhelmed, there are several parts for this cockpit. First, you have the ship information status. It's good to keep an eye on this when you're driving or you're fighting, to not run out of grids. So here on this side there are fluids, and on this side there are grids. You also have the shield status, if you have shields installed. You have the HP status, if this gray side gets narrower then you'll be losing health. And you also have the subsystems, so basically weapons, engines, and shields. The more damage they take, the more this line will inset towards getting towards disappearing. And basically, when you lose all engines, you cannot move anymore. With weapons, you cannot fire, and with shields, well, you'll not have shields anymore. The second panel, left to right, are all the weapons available. There are only actually 5 weapons in total so far. Some of them are not implemented from this panel, and you can toggle them. So once they're activated, that doesn't mean you can fire them directly. You have to instruct this cockpit which weapons to use, because you might want to only fire the rockets. For that, you would press the rocket launcher button. This button will turn blue, and when you press click while driving, you're gonna fire only rocket launchers, similar with Gatlings, railguns, or the hook gun. You also see how much ammo you have for each weapon. The central screen has several important buttons. So first of all is the drive control, because you can have multiple cockpits but only one can drive a ship at a time. So on whichever cockpit this steering wheel is blue, on that cockpit you'll be able to, or that cockpit will be able to drive the ship. Below this you have a button for silence alarm, because depending on the ship or your configuration for the electronics, or for the configuration of your procedures, you can automate sound and light triggers for the alarms, and if there's a loud alarm you can just silence it. Next you have 2 buttons, parent rotation and switch between translation and rotation. So what these do is if you go into the drive mode by pressing tab and press alt, you'll see a third person view of the ship. You can also switch between multiple types of camera modes. So you have your cockpit view, this is the cockpit view. You have the third person view. By pressing alt you can toggle between them, and when you are in the specific mode, that mode will turn green as it did now in this screen. You also have I think this is the turret tracking. Oh no, this is third person mode, but turrets fire forward only. In this third person mode, turrets fire where you are looking at. You have target tracking mode. When you're selecting a target, you're gonna be only looking at the target, so you don't have to manually track it with your mouse. We have docking mode, so when you're docking you can see the perspective of the ship through the dock port. You have turret control, so you can control individual groups of turrets and see the fight from their perspective. And you have fixed camera mode, so you can see the perspective as if you were a fixed camera on top of the ship. So these are all the camera modes. You also have these two options. So for third person, you can parent the rotation to the ship. So this means when the ship is rotating, the camera sticks to the ship. Otherwise, the camera will just have a normal vertical alignment based on the sector. This is one thing. So let's parent again. And then you have the switch between translation and rotation, which means in third person mode, when you are pressing WASD to move, what happens to the ship? Does it rotate or does it translate? So now it rotates when I'm pressing, for example, A, and when I'm pressing V to toggle between translation and rotation, now, just a second to stop the ship from moving. So I've switched to translation mode. So when I'm pressing A, right now you're moving left rather than rotating. So this is rotation, and this is translation. On the right side, you have the target information and also navigation. You can select a specific target. You have ships that are friendly, hostile, and allied to you, and you have other types of entities that you can also target. If we target an asteroid, you also get on the reticle in the center of the screen a small red circle that indicates on what in what direction the target is, so you can easily know where to point your guns at. So this red indicator in the center of the screen shows the direction, while the red arrows show the actual target. So now that I've targeted, I can clear set the next target. I can switch between them. And if I have navigation enabled, I can get statistics and guides and automation information for how to travel to that asteroid. It might be simple, just point the ship in the direction of the target and just press W. But it's not so simple because this is only for the RCS. If you want to travel to a distant target, you can't just hold W. Also, in Adrorium, there are realistic physics, so there's no limit on speed, and you also always accelerate and decelerate. You're never at constant speed when you're using your engines. So engines don't move you, but control your inertia. For example, now I'm moving at 2.5 meters per second. By pressing W, I'm just changing the inertia to increase it or decrease it by pressing S. I also want to quickly show you the boosters. So you use boosters by pressing Shift, and you can see that there's a huge spike in velocity when you're using boosters. You can use them in reverse mode by pressing R, and then when you're pressing Shift again to boost, you're gonna decelerate because the ship has 4 boosters, 2 facing forward and 2 facing backward. And depending on which ones you want to use, you'll get the thrust in your desired direction. There is also alternative. You can only use the forward-facing boosters and just rotate the ship, but it's simpler to have a symmetrical boost ability on forward and backwards, because in the end, when you're navigating to a target, and let me quickly show you. For that, I'll have to get into the right side of the uh, right display from the cockpit. On this display, you have controls for boosters. Basically, they are similar but simpler controls like these ones. So you can boost directly. Do I have something in front of me? You can boost directly from the cockpit, switch to reverse, boost again to slow down. we'll leave plasma mode for another time. You also have RCS power, so if you want very fine adjustments, like if you want to stop rotating now, it's just easier to use a very fine adjustment for the RCS rather than if I use full 100% power for the RCS. It's gonna be harder to stop the ship. That being said, you shouldn't be stopping the ship on your own. That's why you have the autopilot, and the autopilot has two main functions. You have the uh, transform arresting, so basically stopping the ship, and when I press the auto brake, the autopilot automatically stops the ship, limited by the RCS power, and also hold direction, where it stops the rotation, as you can see. The autopilot deactivates when you move, when you translate or rotate the ship, and reactivates half a second after you've taken the finger off the controls. So I'm moving, autopilot is not active, taking my finger off, and it's automatic. The autopilot kicks in. So this is the first part of the autopilot, and then you have the navigation assist part of the autopilot. And the navigation assist allows you to plot a course to a destination, a very simple course, or a route, or a trajectory, or a journey. And then you have options. Uh, for example, stop on collision. If you by any chance hit your ship because you aren't careful and you hit an asteroid, you are boosting towards the asteroid and you aren't paying attention, the collision will automatically deactivate the boosters so that you don't continuously hit the whatever you are hitting at the collision. You have the stop on arrival. If you want the boosters to automatically deactivate when you have reached the proximity of your target. And then let me show you how plotting a course works. You basically target a distant enough target. You align the heading, so you have your heading indicator that you can see. It's relatively easy to align. This heading indicator just tells you in what direction the ship is moving right now. So if you're looking at these particles, or if you're looking at the reference for the speed relative to the asteroid, you're moving towards that heading. You also have a trailing indicator. Oops, I didn't target the asteroid. I lost target. You have a target trail, and you also have various indicators like uh, information relative to your ship, like your starport indicators. You also have targeting assists indicators. You also have markers and not landmarks, space marks indicators. On the atmosphere, you even have a very interesting atmosphere navigation assist, where it tells you the altitude, it tells you the orbit speed, if you're at orbit or not. It gives you the horizon, your orientation, and so on. You also have a docking reticle, so there's lots of indicators that you'll see on the screen. Next, so a stop on collision, and for plotting a course. So I said that you have to, after you selected your target, by right clicking on your select or on your desired target. It can be either an asteroid field, a planet, a beacon like a marker, or a other ship. So you can do that by right clicking on it, or simply by selecting it from the second right screen. So after you've selected your target and you have aligned your heading, let's just quickly switch to cockpit view and slow down a bit. In here you'll see these informations, these types of informations, which there are two parts. You have some statistics regarding distance, how long would it take you to arrive at the destination based on the current speed, how long will it take you to decelerate with the current boosters, the boost or thrust amount for the boosters in terms of acceleration, and your peak speed if you were to get there in the fastest way possible. These are the first types of information that you'll get, and the second type is the navigation assist, where you have two phases: the acceleration phase and the deceleration phase. Each of them should, in theory, take the same amount of time, because if you're going from point A to point B, you're basically in real life you're mostly going to accelerate at the start, then have a constant speed and decelerate at the end. And in almost any game, this is the case. You accelerate in the start for a bit, then you have for the vast majority of the journey a very constant speed. In Adrorium, you're actually accelerating half the way, so half of the journey to your destination is going to be pure acceleration, and the other half is going to be pure deceleration. This will allow you to get crazy speeds. I'm talking tens, perhaps hundreds of kilometers per second, which are, I don't even know if the probe Voyager has reached that speed. I don't know. I'll have to check. Hundreds of kilometers per second. So for that, you'll need to know exactly when to switch between acceleration and deceleration. You're going to do that by switching boosters from forward to reverse mode. And since that's pretty difficult, you have a button, reverse midway, which will automatically switch the boosters for you when the time comes. You'll also see a fill bar. This green fill bar will tell you how much of that journey of the, or how much of that phase you have actually finished by now. So uh, if it's gonna take 10 minutes and you've done 7 minutes, the green bar will be about here. When the acceleration phase is over, you'll see the deceleration phase. You'll also see the amount of time that you will take that's left. So for now, it's gonna take 6 seconds to accelerate and 6 seconds to decelerate. You also see an amount that's finished already, and you also see the total ETA. So just the sum of the two phases. So just to show you the difference, right now it will take 26 minutes to arrive at the destination at the current speed, while with a dual phase acceleration and deceleration, it will take you 12 seconds. So from 26 minutes to 12 seconds. This is a crazy huge improvement in travel time. And right now we are moving at about 1 meter per second. It's not much. Let's just move to 20 meters per second, which is quite a decent speed. I mean, it's a very, very fast speed for a car on Earth. That would still take you about 4 times more to drift to that destination compared to the dual phase. And that being said, let's quickly show you into action how this works. I also have to activate prevent reverse overshoot. Let's quickly stop. So this prevents a reverse overshoot, just ensures that if you have if you're on the deceleration phase and you have passed your destination and you have decelerated so much that you have got too close, and then but at that point the boosters are still boosting and they'll continue to stop to push you in reverse mode. So you need a way to stop the boosters when you have arrived or when you have the smallest speed. So when you have stopped decelerating and you have started accelerating backwards, that is when prevent reverse overshoot will cut the boosters. So with all this information in your head, let's quickly test this out. Just my bad. You're accelerating automatically reversed and you have arrived at the destination. For this small target, it might not be that interesting, but for a more distant target like because asteroids are in a matter of few kilometers away in an asteroid field, but for other targets like planets, they can be uh, tens of thousands of kilometers away, and that's gonna take you forever to drift. But or other markers. But if you're doing that, okay, let's also see how long would it take uh, for both acceleration, for both dual phase and for drifting. So for let's drift at for 20 meters per second, about 20 meters per second, it will take you 5 days to arrive at that planet. With the dual phase, it will take you 20 minutes, from 5 days to 20 minutes. This is the difference from movement from linear movement, or between linear movement and dual phase movement. There is a cost to this. You have to keep an eye on it because you can sometimes overshoot and slightly go uh, after the target or crash into the target if you're not careful, or just arrive too soon. So you have to keep an eye from time to time on the navigation. Also, it consumes a lot of fuel. By fuel, I mean hydrogen and a bit of oxygen. Boosters consume mostly hydrogen and a bit of oxygen. So now that we have everything set up, there are a few more controls for the autopilots, like also auto brake. So when you're stopping boosters on arrival, you can also trigger the autopilot to auto brake to enable, so that even if you've deactivated the boosters, you can still have a small amount of speed, and you might want to completely stop. And for that, after stopping the boosters, it's gonna automatically activate the auto brake. Similarly with also auto brake to form the overshoots, and you can also have it toggle or trigger. So what I'm saying is that if you're decelerating, it can remain active after it stopped boost. So the next time you're trying to change the orientation of your speed, it's still gonna remain active, or it can unset itself depending on this, if this is pressed or not. And these are basically all the autopilot functions. I'm gonna quickly cover. No, I'm gonna jump the mainframe and combat automation options for later. So these are the controls from the cockpit. Let's quickly read the mission. Next priority are the weapons. The ship is equipped with 2 Gatlings and 2 rocket launchers, but they have no ammo. So the 2 respective weapons are these are the 2 rocket launchers, which can they be visible from that side? Nah, I don't think they can be visible. They're not. You can see them in third person if you really want to. So it's those. Let me quickly lower the. You have the arrow keys, which control the position and the zoom of the camera. You can also use your scroll wheel to zoom. So these 2 are the rocket launchers, and these 2 are the Gatlings. Right now they are docked inside of the ship for protection, but you can extend them and they'll go outside of the ship. For now, let's follow the mission, and says go to them and press F to replenish their ammo. Have the ammo equipped in your hands. When replenishing, middle click will send item to the belt. You have various inventory shortcuts, like middle click sends to the belt, also space and hover sends to the belt, left click takes half, control left click puts one, left click, oh, I see that's control click puts half. Lots of controls, you can read them, all of them, if you are interested in that. So let's take the ammo for each of the 2 blocks. We have the Fox 2 rockets for the rocket launcher and 33mm rounds for the Gatlings. By holding the ammo and pressing F, you are reloading the weapon. You can also press F while looking at the at the specific weapon, and it will automatically get the item that is required to reload the weapon onto the belt. There are lots of other quality of life features, like pressing F while looking at the hole will automatically get you a tool in hand. Same with meds, same with seeds for hydroponics. But let's continue. Same here. Great, and now we have the next mission. To enable the weapons, you need the weapons console. Luckily for you, it is in your inventory. Build it and power the Gatlings and the rocket launchers. So we have the last console, the tactical console, which will be placing near the other. Power it up. This console isn't as polished as the energy console, but it does the job. On this console, you have shield controls. You can enable them, but we don't have any shields right now. Connect them, deploy. You can use them in active mode, so they are deflecting, or in recharge mode, where there is a plasma recharging the shields. You can also toggle individual sides. You have 6 sides, and you can redistribute plasma towards a specific side. You can also power internal turrets. They'll be used if you want to defend your ship. Right now there is nothing to defend against, but you can do that if you want. And then on this side you have controls for weapons. So we have on this ship we only have Gatlings and rocket launchers, but we can also have railguns, plasma cannons, and hook guns or grapplers. Let's power both systems. There are several options if you want the turret to follow your cursor if you're in third person. If you want to only follow fire forward, you have the turret mode. You have target lock for rocket launchers if you want your rockets to fire just forward, or if you also want them to track the targets. Usually you want always to track the target. And you also have the sequential fire, so if both of the rocket launchers will fire in the same time, all will just jagger their firing, so they'll fire in sequence to basically double your fire rate, but fire less per fire frame, similar for Gatlings. So now that both weapons are enabled, as I said earlier, you also have to instruct the cockpit which weapons to use, because there might be multiple players and each of the player might want to control an individual set, or you just sometimes want to fire the Gatlings to take out a asteroid and then switch to the hook gun to grab the ore. So for now it says to there's a different mission now. To quickly test out the weapons, let's enable both rocket launchers and Gatlings. Get a target and let's fire them separately. So first the rocket launchers. Just by clicking, you're gonna fire a rocket, which is gonna track the target. If it's not directly facing the target, it's gonna take a bit of time until the rocket aligns itself, and then it's gonna go to the target. So these are the rockets. I'm pressing 2 to toggle the rockets. You can also press the button, but you have hotkeys from 1 to 5. I'm deactivating the rocket launchers and I'm activating Gatlings. And Gatlings act exactly as you'd expect. Click and they fire. I've actually mined an asteroid. So Gatlings have a relatively narrow, it's not a perfect accuracy, but it's a relatively narrow accuracy. So you can see there is still a firing cone. Rockets are not that accurate. They will fire in a wider arc, but you have to rely on the target tracking to land the hit with the rocket launchers. So these are the Gatlings and the rocket launchers. Let's quickly view them in third person because they have nice visuals and animations. So these are the rocket launchers and the Gatlings. Let's fire the Gatlings. They spin a bit, and the rocket launchers, they recharge a bit. Okay, so these are the weapons. I'm gonna power them down for the moment because they consume a lot of energy, even if this ship is equipped with a large battery, so I wouldn't have to worry about that. But now let's continue with the mission. But what if you want to go outside of the ship, you ask? Well, you need a spacesuit for that. And to store your suit, you'll need a suit dock. There is one in your inventory. Build it, craft the suit at it, and let it charge for a bit and equip it. So earlier we powered up the suit dock. Let's go ahead and actually build one. So I have the suit dock here. You can build another one if you want, or if there are more players in your crew. This is a multiplayer game, so you can play either alone perfectly fine or with up to 16 players. If you all want to go outside, you either have to take turns on who charges their suit, or you can just build more sudoks. You can also craft more, and they're very cheap to craft. But let's quickly build one. And in these sudoks, you you take one EV suit. You can also craft those too, but most players come equipped with a spare suit when they join a game. And if you press F, you're going to store your suit in the suit dock. Since the suit dock is powered up, the suit dock is gonna recharge the oxygen stored in the suit. The suit doesn't really do much. It just allows you to go outside. Other than that, it's just like your normal clothes. So it's nothing special. Let me just quickly pause to see if the stream is going fine. One is fine, and the other one is fine. Checking Discord. Okay, so I'm waiting for the suit to charge. If you have the suit equipped and it's gonna run out of oxygen, you'll suffocate and die, and you don't want that. So now we've let it charge for a bit. Let's equip the spacesuit as the mission said. And on the right side, you'll see a gauge that's gonna tell you how much oxygen you have in your suit. I think it lasts for about 20 minutes, and it charges in less than a minute, I think. So this is the suit. Earlier in the first one, two, or third step of the training, you had the jetpack. You can use it both in the with the suit or without the suit, so they are not really required to be used both. But now that you have the suit, let's go outside of the ship. And yes, up to this point, we've only been inside of the ship and seeing it from the third person mode, but you can actually get outside of the ship. Adrorium is a game that doesn't have loading screens or scenes or preloaded areas. Everything is in a seamless world, except for sectors. When you are going to different sectors, you're basically changing the world. So now, this is the airlock. You have two options. You can either cycle the airlock yourself, so close the door, depressurize. This is the oxygen level in the airlock, and then open the external door. Or you can have the auto cycle, where you are pressing the direction where you want to go towards. So you can go towards the interior, and if I press this button, nothing will happen because we are already accessing the interior. Also, if I press the cycle to interior, it's gonna open the door. No, it's gonna. If you're outside, it's gonna close the door, depressurized, and open the internal door. So, after we open the, after we close the airlock, we can depressurize it, and then we'll have the option to open the external door. But for now, I'll just use the cycle option, and also have to open the door. Let's read the mission. To escape the ship, you have to use your airlock. The button combination for the lock is open interior. So open interior. You also have that button on that side. It's symmetrical to this one on that side. Getting close the interior. There was the button to close the door. Depressurize. This button that depressurizes the airlock. Open exterior. So basically this. And get out. So use your personal thruster to move outside of the ship. Remember to stop the ship before exiting, otherwise you'll have a hard time getting back in. To stop your ship, use the autopilot functions on the cockpit. Right now, the autopilot is active. I can tell because I don't see any particles moving. So when I'm leaving the ship remains in place. The ship can also drift if you have the autopilot deactivated, and that's gonna make getting back into the ship slightly harder. and if the ship is rotating as well, it's going to be very difficult to get back in the ship. So I wouldn't recommend getting out of the ship while the ship is still moving. You can be inside of the ship while the ship is moving because you're gonna be stuck to the ship. But if you're moving outside, you can still float along the ship. But getting inside of the ship is gonna be very hard, especially if the ship is rotating. So we are outside of the ship. Uh, the controls for the jetpack are pretty much very similar to controls of the ship. You have your WSD, QE to rotate, mouse to look up and down, space up, and C down. Uh, you're gonna get used to it. If you're gonna play Adrorium a lot, you're gonna get used to it, and you'll find it very intuitive and easy to use. But in the beginning, you'll have a hard time using the jetpack on the outside of the ship. So there is one more step for this mission. For this mission, I have to open the door because the door was already open when I started this mission. So let's open the door. So after you finish playing outside, get back in and lose the suit. G toggle between the Mac boots and jetpack, and while in jetpack, use special controls, QA to rotate, and C or space to go up and down. Let's remove the suits. Next training step. Now get to the cockpit and start driving. Standard controls. So there are oh, I kind of shouldn't have cleared that mission, but we can also see the controls in this lower side. So you have I already talked about the controls. Left click to fire, right click to target, shift to boost, air to reverse, uh, middle click to zoom in, and that's gonna be very useful in combat because uh, you'll be at you'll be quite far away from your target, hundreds of meters, perhaps even kilometers away from your target, and at that range, you're gonna just see specks and small things on the screen, and you need to be zoomed in order to properly align your gatlings to land proper hits. So middle click to zoom is gonna be a very important part. You have to press tab to switch between driving and just operating the cockpit. Control, but that's not gonna be very important, to initiate an MFN jump to a different sector, even if that sector uh, even if you don't have the MFM, you're gonna hear the sound, but you're not gonna jump. What else? Alt to toggle between the camera modes. You can also press X to target the closest hostile enemy. 1 through 5 to toggle weapons. And that's mostly it. You can also press H to hide the stats for your hardware. And this is another thing for the cockpit. When you're driving, you're gonna see the hardware for your subsystems. So Gatling and rocket launchers for now are for weapons. The red bar, then so red bar from here. Then you have boosters, RCS, gyros, and MFM for engines, and then you have shields. Each of the green bars represents one healthy block. Yellow bars means it's taken some damage. Darker yellow, it's taken heavy damage and it's almost destroyed. And a red means that block is destroyed, and there's only the remnants of that block. I don't want to destroy one for now, and we will see one later on because it's expensive to destroy and rebuild one for now. You can rebuild them relatively easy if you have the basic ingredients or the basic resources that were needed to craft it in the first place. So those are the basic controls. Let's continue with the next mission. Let's get some resources. Asteroids are full of usable ores. Go and destroy 2 of them. In their center there will be valuable ores. Be sure to have the weapons enabled, buttons 1 through 5 or 1 and 2. Shift activates boosters, and air reverses switches the reverse mode. So I'm gonna target a close enough asteroid. I want to get close enough to it. Actually, I don't want to get close enough to it for now. I'm also going to switch to Gatling, so I'm gonna repower them. Since I have to mine 2 asteroids, no, I want to get close. So I'm gonna use the course plotting. It reverses automatically and is gonna stop the boosters and engage the autopilot automatically when I arrived. So let's fire, pressing 1 to enable Gatlings and firing. It takes about 25 rounds to break one asteroid, and in the middle there you have the remaining ores. With these ores, you can build a hook gun to grab them automatically and pull them to an inventory, but we don't have a hook gun for now, so we'll have to wait a second. So we'll have to go out of the ship and get them by hand. So I'm grabbing them. I'm also looking at what I'm grabbing. Niter, lithium, copper. They can be refined in the forge. Carbon, silicon, ice. I'm not gonna pick all of them. I'll just go back to my ship. I'm actually doing the missions out of order because right now I just have to destroy 2 asteroids, not to pick up ore. Next mission will require me to pick up ore, but it's simpler just to pick it up now. Getting back to the ship. Again, the more you're gonna do this, the easier it's gonna get. I will use the ship inventory item fetching functionality, which allows me to store all items or to store depending on different circumstances, or I can store them individually, and they are visible in this list. So from this list I can pull them back, and depending on what keybinds I'm pressing, I can get 1, 5, all of them, or on 100 in batches of. They are actually right here. So I've stored the ores because I don't want to automatically trigger the next mission. I'm gonna finish this mission, take out another asteroid, and the mission says now get the ores, activate autopilot, go to the asteroids and collect by hand. So I need to find 2 carbon ores. These are the carbon ores, so I picked 2 of them, and that's mostly it. So excellent, now you can craft a lot of rare items with these ores. By the way, a grappling hook would allow you to collect the ores directly from your cockpit. Next step is combat. Get back in the ship, remove your suit, and start driving. Ooh, it's gonna be rough then. If it's combat, I'll just activate all weapons and have them on the go. Here they come. Remember, in space it is enough to disable the enemy, destroying it will be a waste of resources, or destroying a waste of loot. Also, if you want to silence the alarms, like this, there is a button on the cockpit and on the control panel console at alarms called silence alarm that does just that. Let's see how fit for combat are you. 1 incoming drone. I give you some ammo in inventory. Fire the Gatlings at the yellow indicator. Use middle mouse button to zoom in. So, first I have to right click to targets, and you have 2 indicators. Each weapon has its own indicator. Because projectiles take time to reach the destination, you'll have to lead your firing, so fire a bit ahead of the target or behind it if you're moving relatively back related to the target. I'm just while I'm talking, I'm gonna repair this because I don't want to lose them. So you have to aim your Gatlings at the yellow indicators. So let's just start firing. I've already taken out some of the hardware. As you can see, the shields have been taken out. I'm aiming for the boosters. Boosters are dead. I'm aiming for that top. Actually, I'm aiming for the sensors because this is another interesting. The engines have been taken out, so the ship cannot move anymore. And I've taken out the sensors. So even if the ship technically has weapons, it doesn't have engines or sensors, so it's basically dead in the water. The mission still asks me to disable the drone, so I'm just going to fire the last shot. And now there is one more. I'm gonna quickly boost towards it, and then reverse to slow down. You manage okay, barely. You need more training. Disable one more drone. You have some extra ammo in your inventory. You'll have to learn how to use it sparingly. So what I like to do is getting close, because at a closer range, Gatlings are gonna be way more effective. Oh, quickly repairing things. So yellow means the block took some damage. White, it means it took just a bit of damage. And yes, you can repair the blocks in mid-fight, so that's not... So fighting is not that difficult if you know what you're doing. Let's get in close, because the closer you are, the more accurate the Gatlings are gonna hit. And quickly align, I'm zooming in and firing. I've taken out two sides of the shield. It's the most effective way is to take out the shields first, then engines, and then weapons. Because without shields you're not wasting any more ammo. Without engines you'll be able to land all of your hits, and without weapons, or after you destroyed all the subsystem specific hardware on your target, the target is going to become a wreckage. So basically it's just a hunk of metal that's floating in space. And this is where the interesting part comes. Up to this point, you've mostly seen the simulation aspect of the game, the spaceship management. But the game is first and foremost a space survival game. So basically you have to manage your health, you have to manage food, you have to manage resources, you have to craft, deal with farming, loot, go and fight and scrap different components from that drone. What else can you do? In the future there will also be research, build more, take care of sleeping and toilet usage. Yeah, there are many things that you have to do that are strictly survivor related. As I said earlier, the Adrorium is part spaceship, a hardcore spaceship simulator, and part space survival. So now that we have disabled this drone, let's read the mission. All the drones are disabled. You know what's next, right? Equip your suit and go loot them. All drones have an opening in the back. Get in there and gather the loot. Be careful, they have defense turrets. Look in your inventory. I gave you a pistol, ammo, and heals. Don't forget to loot the containers. As an added bonus to the loot, you should dismantle that block as well. So you should dismantle that block. I think it's referring to the AI core. Don't forget to bring a tool. Out of all of this, I only need a tool, some medicine if I get injured, a weapon, and ammunition for the weapon. I'm gonna store the rest. And also, a very important, a very good advice is to park your ship with the airlock facing as close as possible the entry point of the other ship. I'm switching to translation mode, and I'm gonna park it as close as possible. Alt and F. Okay. This is a combat pistol, and it's a rare weapon, and I don't think you can get this in the sandbox. You can craft, there are lots of weapons you can craft, well, not many. There's about 5 or 6 weapons you can craft in the game, in the sandbox or vanilla game. But this is just for the tutorial. So let's go and loot the drone. So the objective is to interact with some cargo container and to dismantle one AI core. But in order to do that, I'll have to first clear the drone, because there are several internal... I press R to reload the weapon. There are several internal turrets. So this specific model has 2 of them, one there and one there. You just have to be careful to dodge the plasma shots that these turrets fire at you continuously. You can aim and dodge like a true coward, just like me. And we've cleared out the internal defenses. And the next thing we can do I'm gonna scrap something. I thought there was a block here somewhere. Yeah, I think I was mistaken. Um, I'm used to a different layout for the drones. So you have two objectives. First, interact with this cargo box and see what items were stored in this drone. There are lots of important items that you're gonna get, and a lot of the resources, and the bulk of your resources, at least in the first part of the game, will be obtained from looting disabled drones or just wreckages, because you can find wreckages in space. You can also scrap lots of blocks, and I'd really suggest you to scrap everything that's not bolted. Even if it's bolted, scrap it. Um, because it's gonna give you a lot of resources that you'll be using to improve your own ship. And building and expanding your own ship is gonna be a huge part of the game. Right now, this is a training ship. In Sandbox, you're gonna start with even smaller ship, and you'll have to build a huge 2 or 3 deck ship with perhaps several thousand cubic meters. That is the required minimal size in order to build the massive guns needed to decently fight a wave. So I'm just going to quickly scrap things. So there are things you can avoid. For example, this only gives 1 iron plate, which is not that much. You already have 30. This gives 2 iron plates. You can scrap this. This gives 4 iron plates. This gives explosive powder, which is used for guns, for ammunition for the guns. This gives copper. You can also see right here it says what are you gonna get when you're scrapping that specific block. So I've finished the mission. So I scrapped the A core that was controlling the drone, and I've interacted with that loot. I'm gonna get back to the ship. So the next mission, when you're ready, go to the ship and build these 4 blocks: reactor, turbine, plasma buffer, and MFM drive, all in your inventory. Don't forget to add the uranium rounds to the reactor. So these are the new, let me quickly store all of those. These are all the new blocks. This is what I've looted. I'm gonna store all of it. Also, I'm gonna remove the suit. And these are all the new blocks. So in order of importance, you have the reactor, or the micro reactor. You can build it here. A turbine, a plasma buffer, I'm gonna build it here, and an MFM drive. So what each one of them does: the micro reactor, which I have to put fuel rods in it. If you press F while looking, you're gonna automatically get the fuel rods. Press F and you'll load reactive uh, radioactive material into the fission fission reactor, or micro fission reactor, and you can power it up from the energy console. So this takes radioactive material. It also takes water and produces plasma. Plasma is just a fluid that has such a high temperature in these circumstances that the atoms have started to break apart, and you have all the raw materials, the building blocks, the subatomic particles just floating around. At least the electrons. Not sure if the protons and I don't think those split. Only the electrons and ions are just flowing like crazy. Mostly plasma is used to contain heat, and heat is one way to manage energy. Then you have turbines, which take also plasma and water, cool off the plasma, and convert it to cool off the plasma, boil water, spin a turbine, because it's called a turbine after all, and produce electricity. Mainly they produce main grid electricity, but a small amount also gets generated of auxiliary or low voltage electricity is produced as well. You can use a simple transformer to convert from one voltage or from one grid to another. So this produces plasma, this produces electricity. Plasma buffers store more plasma, so you have basically, they're like a battery, and the MFM drive allows you to jump to a different sector. This is not a technology that I'm very fan of. It was kind of required at the time when I started implementing different sectors, because you kind of want to go to other sectors, and I didn't have the skill to add anything else. So right now you just point your ship and just warp to that sector, but in the future I'll completely remove the MFM drive and replace it with simple traveling from one sector to the other. Quick notice, if you want to see um, the map of the current sector and the galaxy, you have that on the PDA in the second tab. And in the galaxy map, you can see where you are, the explored sectors, and your destination. The destination is sector 200. You're supposed to be clearing it out of all drone waves. So we would want to travel from 215 to one of these two sectors, I think. So this is what the next mission is gonna ask for me. Add that reactor power. So add the nuclear rods to the reactor. I've done. Power the reactor and the turbine. For that, go to the main power console and do your thing. You'll figure out that's what to press on your own. Remember that turbines need plasma from the reactor, and it's best to use them at 100%. Last button is enable scene drive from turbine button set. So this is a fusion reactor which we just built. Let's enable the system. Connect to water. Output to plasma. Activate the chain reaction. Basically start the fast splitting and decaying of that uranium. So now this is consuming that uranium and is producing plasma. You can also see it here, plasma generated from the microreactor, 4 kilowatts. I also want to set its output level to 100% by lowering and raising some control rods, and then now it's producing about 0.4 megawatts of energy. So this was the fission reactor. Now the turbine. Output to main auxiliary, connect to H2, connect to plasma, enable condensers to recycle the steam from the water, and power up the turbine. So that turbine generates 900 watts of main grid at 100%, and at 100% it generates 990 kilowatts of main grid and 40 watts of auxiliary grid energy. Now that we have basic power and plasma generation, let's power up the MFM drive, mass field modulation. You have on the propulsion console 3 buttons: connect to main grid, charge field, and once we finished this setup, the last thing we have to do, we have time for, is the actual MFM jump. For that, you'll have to align the ship with the next sector and press the jump button from the engine console, or just press the control button from the keyboard when you are driving. The alignment might not be perfect, so it might fail at the first few times. Realign the ship and keep trying. So we are driving. It says to jump to sector 116. You can also see the missions. Oh, I bumped into the wreckage of the drone because I wasn't paying attention. So you can also see the missions in the PDA in the missions tab. Right now we have only this mission, which says to go to sector 116. 116. You usually have up to 4 sectors that you can go to from each sector, unless you're at the edge of the galaxy when you only have 1, 2, or 3 sectors. So let's spin around. Usually you have the sectors aligned with the plane of the galaxy, so you just follow this magenta galaxy line to find the sector that you're looking for. And I found it. So it says not aligned, and now it's aligned. I'll just zoom in for a more precise alignment, and I can either press the initiate MFM jump or just press control. I'll just press control from this side. And this is the MFM jump. Mission finished. This is the end of the tutorial. Many topics weren't covered in this training, like alien missions, gyros, rover, alarms, trading, planet exploration, shields, elevators, ship repairs, farming, or escape pods. But for now, this will have to be enough. You can continue playing normally or try a different game type. Basically, knowing all this information puts you into a certified to drive a spaceship category. I don't hand out certificates, but you can write one yourself. This was the training, which took about an hour and a half to explain. You can do it in 20 minutes if, and perhaps even in 10 minutes if you're quick about it. As the final outro said, there are many other aspects of the game, and I can stay here and present you about 3 or 4 times more features than you've already seen. But I think I've bothered you enough for the first for your first training. That being said, let's end this training. Yep, I might even save. And next thing, I'm gonna do the campaign. Before I do that, I'm just gonna quickly check the stream to be sure that everything is fine. On YouTube, everything is fine. On Steam, everything is fine. I can move on to the campaign. Let's start the campaign. It's not really anything impressive. I'm not good with storytelling, so it just has some dummy missions that you have to follow, and quite a challenge at the end of the campaign. So let's start the campaign. So, after years of hard labor, you saved enough to purchase this ship. Reports of an unknown hostile fleet are coming from the neighboring sector. You investigate it and discover that plot that will unravel. Prologue. Your ship has no production capabilities. Craft your tools and build the basic production blocks. So the starting part of the campaign asks us to build the basic crafters. Do I have? Yes, I have some ingredients in my inventory. Let's go ahead and start the production of one workstation, and let's build that somewhere. I have 2 options or 3 options. I can build that in the back, on this weapons rooms, or on this atmosphere regulation room. I'll just build it here, as I where I used to build it in the past. Next, the furnace. For that, craft one furnace. If you accidentally crafted something else and you don't have any more resources, remember you can scrap blocks at any time to get back the resources that you used at no loss penalty on your own ship. Also, you can scrap a lot of the blocks from your ship in order to get the resources, because you might not want, or you might not need lights, and you might not need a light button for that matter, so you might want to scrap it. You might not need a second stew dock, so you can scrap that as well. You might not need a second screen. This is one, this is the second one, so you can scrap it. You can scrap even the wall if you want to remove it from here. And with those patch plates that you got from removing the wall, you can well, you have to scrap a bit, slightly more wall pieces, and with the patch plates that you got from the wall, you can expand your ship. Also, you can see the size of your ship. If you go into the designer mode, you have, and you press on the current ship, you can see your ship. You also see the decks. You can switch between them. You can also switch between current ship and planned mode. In planned mode, you can design and save. So you can have your current ship and what you want your ship to look like in the future. You can also load different other designs. Some, like the station. For now, you have access to all the ship designs, including designs that, including ships that you haven't actually encountered so far, or ships that you are actually building yourself and separate from the game. So you can have your own ships other than the game-defined ships. But the point is that you can see the design of the ship and you can make adjustments on it. For example, if you don't like this side patrolling there and you want that you want it to patrol on the other side, you don't have to somehow try to figure out and keep track of the design of the ship, you can just look at the PDA to see how the ship looks. There is a different type of ship design. So for now there are two things. I'll have to standardize them in the future, where you have this format. So you have the PDA format, which is per deck, but it also shows you the actual size, and you have a per ship, which doesn't show you the exact size. You'll have to estimate based on what you see, but it shows you all the decks overlaid on top of each other. You also have some nice isometric effect. I said that you can get, in case you get lost somehow and you run out of resources, you can just grab something from the ship, and with the resources that you got, you can craft stuff. In terms of foods, most ships start with 2 hydroponics plots. Oh, actually, when you're moving over a place that doesn't have the zone where your mag boots can grab onto, you're going to be floating in freefall, or just floating in no magnetic boot mode. Great. So I was talking about hydroponics. You basically start with 2 of them. I see in this example you start with way more compost. You can use compost to craft more hydroponics, and let's just do that. So now we'll have 3 plots. If you press F and you have seeds, or any fruit and any seed can be used for planting. So if you press F, you're gonna get the seed into your own hand, and on the lower side is gonna tell you what do you need to plant that. Usually you need water, compost, or both. We don't have water. For water we need to craft some empty bottles. Look at a tank, hold F, and you're automatically going to get the resources from that tank into your container. Now that we have, press F again to select, or you don't need to press F, you can just scroll to it and just press F to plant. You lost water bottles, got to empty bottles, and you've planted a Nerine seed. So in 18 minutes you're gonna get about 4 Nerines, which are basically potatoes. With those you can cook different dishes if you also build a cooking station. Okay, now that that's set, let's follow the mission. There is a wreckage nearby that contains useful resources. Power up your ship, activate sensors, and get there to scavenge it. Okay, let's power everything up. Let's get sensors running, get autopilot running, get propulsion running, and we don't need weapons so far because it says it's a wreckage. So if it's a wreckage, it doesn't have weapons. Power up the cockpit and target neutral. So I don't know where it is. I could have seen it on the UI. I can also use the suit because the suit has some built-in sensor which tells me the location of some ships. So there's that mission ship, which is the wreckage that we have to investigate. It tells me that the suit dock is offline, so the suit won't recharge its oxygen. But I've already targeted, and as you see in the tutorial, if you activate the navigation assist, soft align, go towards that direction, and let the ship get there on its own without your intervention. You don't even need to be in the cockpit for this to happen. This is gonna be very useful when you're traveling long distances, when you're getting to a planet or to another station or to an asteroid field. You can just align the ship, start the journey, let the autopilot do his thing, and you just go on around your ship and craft and build, repair, and overall expand your ship. So now that we have arrived at our mission ship, the objective is to take 1 solar panel out. It's just a simple objective. As I said, the campaign is not very refined, so you won't get who knows what interesting character development or nice plot twists. They're just some basic missions that are on the type of fetch, destroy, disable, get to a sector, build, and do some missions and so on. So now that we have arrived at this wreckage, I'd like to get closer to it. So I'll switch modes. And there are some stairs. That's close enough. I'll store everything. Keep only the screwdriver on me. And not only that you can access the ship inventory, but automatically when you're crafting the inventory, you're pulling resources directly from the ship inventory. So these 20 have out of 4 needed iron plates are pulled from the ship inventory. Right now I'm interacting with the workstation because I want to craft myself a weapon. The pistol is way weaker than the pistol that you get in the training, but you can upgrade it to a SMG, then upgrade it to a combat SMG, and perhaps even craft more powerful weapons like the sniper or the Maz assault rifle or the shotgun. But for now we only have resources for a simple pistol and a screwdriver. I'll equip that, and I also need ammo for it. For it I'll craft some ammo. I don't want to lock myself out, so I first want... Do I have a furnace? Yeah, I have a furnace. So I can lock myself out of resources. Basically craft all the ammo that I can to also run out of resources, because I'm going to be scrapping more resources on the wreckage. Also, there is a nice Easter egg with the wishlist block. If you scrap it, you get some very useful fruit, endgame fruit, coins, and some rare item. If you press on it, you're gonna be redirected to the Steam page. I also want to enable pseudocks and airlocks. I can also power elevators, and with the elevators, you can get from one deck to another. It even has a nice description. Just read the description. Transverse decks in style. If you don't like stairs, there's also a lift block, which is similar to its counterpart in reality. You build one lift here and another lift in the other part of the ship. Get inside the lift, press the lift that you want to go to, and you'll arrive at the destination. Lifts are going to be useful if you want to build a very large ship. Elevators are used for just avoiding going up the stairs, because going up the stairs is not that fun. So, I have tool, ammo, and a weapon. Let's cycle through the... get the suit, cycle through the airlock, and try to get to this wreckage. We can simply dismantle that solar panel, but since we have such good resources in this wreckage, I'd rather try to push my way through this wreckage and try to see how many resources can I get before I'm too injured or before I run out of ammo. Sadly, there are only few types of wreckages or bases in the game. Ouch, I got hit. In the future, I'll add procedural bases, so you'll have more variety when it comes to exploration. And I wasn't paying attention and I got hit. And I got hit again. I don't know how much will the ammo last. That's enough for another turret. I can craft more ammo though. So there's this here. There's There's 2 of them there. And I only have 4 more bullets, so I won't have enough to finish this POI, point of interest, or base, or wreckage, or just a huge loot container. Um, you can craft pouches and press F while looking at a hostile tank from a hostile ship, and take out the fluids from this tank and store it in your own tanks. But for now, I think the tanks that from my ship are already filled. A lot of the looting is gonna consist of scrapping and dismantling. What else can I dismantle? This gives titanium, and there are several tiers of materials. You have some easy to get materials like iron and copper. Then you have some slightly harder to get. Oh, it can't shoot at me. Yes, it can. It can shoot at me. Then you have slightly harder to obtain steel and duraluminum. Then you have way harder to obtain like titanium, and then you have the hardest to obtain, which are the biomolecular variants of iron and titanium. Those will allow you to get access to higher tier blocks. And higher tier blocks are basically similar to default blocks, but are larger and have better specs. So a Mark II or tier 2 or level 2 Gatling will deal 130% more damage than the normal uh, Mark 1 Gatling, and a Colossal or a level 9 Gatling is gonna deal about 7,000% more damage than the base Gatling. I also know this POI, and this POI has a different entrance, which we can use to access the end loot, the loot room. And in here we even have enough resources to craft more ammunition and to finish looting this POI. So let's quickly loot everything. No, I don't want to die. I only have 2 more health left. I forgot that there is a turret there. So I'm gonna use the meds to restore some of my health. Perhaps I should be more careful. Definitely should be more careful. I cannot get shot anymore. Otherwise I'll die. And I don't want to die. Quickly clearing out. There might be another turret somewhere around there. Anything there? Yep, there's one there. And perhaps there is the last turret that we haven't cleared from that point. And this POI has been cleared. Let's quickly take all the things we can take from it. And after this, we might have to come back to this POI and take the rest of the loot that we cannot carry right now. Also, because we've taken that solar panel, we finished the mission and we got a new objective, which is comfort. Your new ship lacks the interior facilities you need for long-distance habitation. With your new loot, go ahead and craft yourself a bath, another cabinet, and a bunk. Okay, we'll craft those when we get back to the ship. For now, let's just scrap everything that we can get our screwdriver on. Usually you do not have this much loot. Usually have about one room of hardware with one or two loot boxes, which you have to fight a lot for, fight a drone, or try to take out the defenses. You see this? I dropped an item because I already ran out of space in my inventory. So I'll just dump my inventory pretty quickly and then return. Return to finish looting this wreckage, because this is a very good loot. Usually you only get the loot from drones, and that's not so much. And you definitely don't get the red loot boxes from in the first part of the game. Store everything, but you cannot store anymore because there is no more storage space in the ship. So let's just upgrade one of these blocks. Take out everything from here. Use the button to store everything. While I'm on it, first let's let the suit charge for a bit. I'd like to craft a better tool. I don't have enough aluminum to craft a welder, which is the level 3 tool, but I should have enough to craft a combi drill. For that I need a battery. And as I said, you can use pouches and batteries to transfer fluids and energy. Just one click, and you've taken energy from the grid and put it into a battery. Taking out the combi drill, and since we have a better tool, we can drop the screwdriver. Let's get our suits and continue our looting adventures. You usually have to be more careful about health, but it's gonna be easier to fight drones when you don't have to speak and to present a game type. So you might have way more luck than me. This combi drill is faster than the screwdriver. I don't remember the speed increase. Perhaps it's a 50 or 100% increase. So with each increase, you're definitely gonna feel a improvement in your looting time. Also, not only looting, because tools are not only used for scrapping dismantled blocks, they're also used for upgrading and expanding your ship. Upgrading blocks on your ship and expanding your hull. I'm almost done. I have this room and another and a loot room. And after we finish this, I'll pick up those silicon patches that we dropped. After we finish looting, we'll build the ship. We'll build the blocks that are asked for from the ship, from the mission. We'll build them on the ship. I want to check if to be sure that there is nothing left in the inventories. I don't want to scrap them and drop all the, because if there are some items in the inventory, they'll drop, and then I have to go and pick them up by hand. I'd rather not have to do that. There are also shortcuts that you can use to very quickly take out and store things in and from cargo. So this wreckage, it also is marked as being explored because I visited it. Other wreckages will not have that explored mark. Similarly with stations, you'll see explored station or just a simple without any kind of modifier on the name. After we dock and get in the station, we'll see the explored status. That way you can keep track which of the wreckages you've already looted and which are new. Storing everything. And let's build first of all, I want to get rid of all the doors. Frankly, I'm not a door guy. I prefer open spaces. So yeah, take apart as much as I can. You can see this ship has similarly like the training ship. It has 4 boosters and about the same amount of tanks, one for each liquid. And after we've cleared out the walls and doors, the ship looks more spacious. Okay, so let's craft the 3 required blocks. First is the cabinet, then bunk, and the bathroom. Uh, build them somewhere. One here, and it doesn't matter. What next? Allies. There is a station nearby. Befriend the local government by helping out with their tasks and quests. You can do a docking procedure with the station to get access to station services, or just use the airlocks to commute. Okay, you can get to the station. Uh, I think from this point on, I'm not gonna be playing anymore because it's gonna take a lot of time, and I've already finished both the sandbox and several challenges, including Planet Survival and the hard variant, in previous streams. So if you want to see a full playthrough, I'm going to. You can look at the previous streams. So from this point on, I'll be using creative mode to show you the rest of the campaign. So these are the dock ports that you can use for docking and also just getting in and out of the station. Let me quickly show you how to dock. So you've targeted the station. Be sure that autopilot is enabled. It's very hard to dock without the autopilot. Press a request dock. Align the first of all the rotation. These 3 reticles, which are rotation indicators. One is yaw, the other is pitch, and the last one is roll, I think. And when you align them properly, so this goes here, this goes to the center, they will automatically turn blue. Quickly aligning them, and after you've aligned the rotations, you can start the translations, because rotations break translations, but translations don't break rotations. So if I move up, I'm not gonna break the rotations, but if I rotate, I'm gonna break my positions. I'm also going to align the other reticles. And when all of them have been aligned, you'll see a distinct beeping, and you know that at that point you can attempt a clam dock. If you press the dock button, the airlocks will automatically pressurize and connect, so you can go between 2 ships, and this is very convenient, and I love this very much. Alternatively, you'd have to equip your suit, get in here, close, depressurize, open, close, depressurize, open, then close, depressurize, open, close, depressurize, open. So just docking and moving between 2 ships is so convenient. Let's store things. So it says to get 2 missions. You can also get the missions from the electronics console. You have a communications tab here. I'm gonna get all the missions since I don't really care. I'm not gonna finish the missions normally. And I'm gonna cheat my way with something. I'm gonna sell some ammo, buy some water, and I can do a mission from this NPC. It says 30 crewmen, my mouth is right in the space, to make it worse, we can't take breaks while on duty. Could you get me something to drink? Accept. So I've accepted a mission, and that mission is gonna pop out over here. I've also taken lots of missions, but I'm only gonna be doing this one. So I need 1 bottle of water. Let's quickly toggle that mission just to see what I need to do for this mission. So my mouth. Okay, so this is the text. Find 1 water bottle and report back. So return back to this crewman. I've returned back. He gave me some rewards, and I've also finished the other campaign mission that asked me to do one mission for the for a NPC for the station. For the, how are they called in the diplomacy consideration, for the trading union. There are several factions. For now, they are hard coded. So you have the wreckages, your faction, stations, drones, and 2 unused ones. From this point on, well, you can undock from here directly or from the cockpit. From this point on, I'm not gonna be finishing the campaign. I'm gonna use creative to finish it. So I need to build these 4 blocks. For that, I'm gonna use creative mode, so this is not normal gameplay. MFM, reactor, turbine, plasma buffer, and uranium. Similar as the ones from the training. Build those somewhere. And then I'm also gonna get a weapon that helps me disable other ships. So, follow the trail of destruction. I'm gonna press F4 to quickly power up the entire ship. This is just creative magic because I don't want to grind several hours to get the resources to craft the blocks. And it tells me to go to sector 173. So follow the trail of destruction. And now that I have arrived here, first of all, silence the alarm, and secondly, I have to disable some of this. Pump 1 has been disabled, the other one is disabled, and this one is disabled. So I finished this side of the silence alarm again. I finished this side of the. I finished this mission. I've cleared out the weird and unusual wave that was causing all the problems around these sectors. Also, the hydroponics are finished growing, and I pick up my neurons. With this, I can craft, and I'm going to quickly build all the crafters. Tap, 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 tap. Don't need any of this. This is a crafting area, which allows me to interact with all the blocks, all the crafters that are adjacent to it. I'm going to quickly craft all the crafters. And now, because I'm in this crafting area, I can also, you see in here at what crafters you have access to, and you have access to all the recipes from all the crafters. So these are the foods you can cook, tools including the end game weapons, a suit, a rover, ammunition, combat blocks, shields, anti-personnel turrets, a hook gun, rocket launchers, gatlings, railguns, plasma cannons, beacons, antennas, MFM, mainframe. From here, there aren't very interesting things. Most of them are pretty intuitive, like a capacitor for main grid, fuel cells. We've already talked about them. Some endgame blocks, lots of tank storage, electronics, most importantly motherboards. They're very important. Some basic materials, resources, research, including an automaton, and some recycling. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 crafter blocks that you can craft. I also want to quickly show you the automaton. It is kinda hard to get because you need to loot several planet bases to get one. But after you craft one, it will repair your ship automatically, it will rebuild destroyed blocks if you have the ingredients, it will replant crops and so on. So it's very useful. Right now he's repairing the MFM. So you can see 97, 98, 99, it's repaired, and he'll move on to the next block. Ignore his no clip or its no clip. ability. Okay, so that's the automaton. Crafting, food. You've seen all the foods. Let's finish the mission. These were patrol drones. They are here to protect us, investigate the wreckages, and find out why they behave so erratic. Let's quickly go into creative mode and quickly go into one of the drones. This is a larger drone. And the objective is to scrap the A core, which is this block. And when you scrap this A core, you get mission failed. You obtain logs revealing I received 3 drone logs. The obtained logs revealed an unknown source of code that completely changed the drone behavior. Who could be responsible for such a horrific act? This is the first part of the campaign. As the game will be developed, new chapters will be added, and the text was cut. Nice bug. Just noticed it. So this is the campaign. It might take you more hours to finish because you have to prepare for this sector's wave. You have a tier 2 drone which has railguns, and as you can tell, I've already lost several blocks, and the automaton repaired what he had resources for repairing, but the rest he already ran out of resources to repair. But as you can see, in only a few seconds of fighting a tier 2 drone, my ship already got pretty much battered down very badly. This is how blocks look when they have been destroyed. You can repair them. You can simply repair them and rebuild them. So let me just quickly get a... What are the nozzles? Nozzles. To repair this nozzle. Fine, I don't see that, and I don't have time for it. I'll just scrap a different one so I get the nozzles. And now I can just look at it and rebuild it. And now it's basically good as new. Also, I can upgrade it, and let me show you how upgrading works. You can build different blocks upgrade in different patterns. For example, RCS's upgrades. Let me first get the materials needed to upgrade them. Aluminum, steel, aluminum, titanium. Yep. So first you can upgrade with up to, they're initially at iron stage. Then you have to upgrade them to steel, to level 2, which requires steel. Level 3 requires the aluminum. And after you've upgraded 4 of them, you'll get this thing. Place 4 in a square formation to upgrade to Mega RCS. So the first 3 levels are iron, steel, the aluminum. 4th level is just like Mega variant, so this is a Mega RCS. Then you can use combinal alloy. Let me get a better tool, because this is gonna take forever with just my combi drill. But with the plasma welder I can do things way faster. So the next up to the 5th level is combinal. Next is titanium, and then you'd place 4 of these RCSs in a square pattern again to craft a colossal RCS. Then you'd upgrade it with biomolecular iron into a level 8, and with biomolecular titanium you'd upgrade it to level 10. So I'm just gonna rebuild this. I just grabbed it to see how this is upgraded. And several blocks have this upgrade gen, like Gatlings, rocket launchers, boosters, RCS, all the tanks, and some of and the batteries will also have. Batteries have a different upgrade chain, batteries and cargo holds, because they are very old blocks. So this is upgrading. Another thing I want to show you is the rover. For that, we'll have to start in a different game type. The rover is basically a block that you place inside of your ship. You get into the back, power it up, power the engines, slide out of the ship, and when you have cleared the zone of the ship, press the expand wheels, and you're gonna move way faster. Shift increases consumption but increases acceleration. If you are in space, you can use a very simple thruster to orient the rover. You can also use magnetical attachments so you can walk on stations and on ships in space, but these are not available in atmosphere. The rover also has two cargo slots. It has a bed, two seats, one driver seat, a toilet, and two suit storage areas. On top of that, it's pressurized, so outside you can have no atmosphere, and inside you'll have atmosphere. The suits do not recharge while in here, unlike the suit docks from the ship. And also, wheels move the rover if they are in contact with something. So they'll turn red if they're not in contact. You can also swap uh, energy and oxygen to either take out from the rover or to increase the rover uh, operation time if you want to drive more time with the rover. Even if the rover kind of has a lot of operational time, I'll have to lower that. Some instructions, and for driving you have the WSD and shift. I think space is brake. If the rover is stopped, you can only pry open the doors, so you cannot use the buttons from the built-in airlock. So this is the planet. You use the rover to move in the planet. There are lots of bases that spawn around the planet, and these bases you can't really get close to them because they have rockets. You have to either go by foot or by rover close and take out the weapons, or just use railguns to take them from far away. Uh, they have a 4 kilometer range for rockets. Rockets despawn or run out of fuel after 4 kilometers, so just be sure to stay clear up to 4 kilometers of each plant base. That's red. You also have gray, which are neutral planet bases. They won't fire at you. If you want to, and you'll have to land to a planet in order to get access to this important loot. You have different types of. I think you have about 3 types of bases. You have the reverse Ziggurat, you have the tower base, and you have that maze base. You'll need to get to the planet in order to get the resources needed to craft an MFM drive and to prepare your ship to a decent enough level so that it can fight in the central sector. By the way, every 20 minutes a wave will attack your ship, and depending on your sector, the wave will have more and more harder to defeat drones. In the beginning, you'll only get, or the further away you get from the center of the galaxy, the simpler the wave. In here, you might get one tier 1 wave. In here, 2 tier 1 wave. Up to here, you'll start getting tier 2 drones, and up to the center you'll get about 2 4 up to 6 tier 2 drones, and they're gonna be very hard to take out. You'll need several beds of hardware, including weapons, boosters, RCS, perhaps even shields, preferably Gatlings and railguns. These are the most effective weapons against tier 2 drones. But in the end, you can build your own ship. There are several built-in ships that you can get inspired to, like the Manikvam, which is intended to be the simplest good enough ship to take out the central sector. It has a central part where you have get your hook guns for mining. It has room for hydroponics for growing your food. It has a room for crafting, room for crew quarters, a room for storage. It has what are those? Do I have a tool? Dual battle batteries, several colossal tanks, lots of storage and hardware for grids. It has several Gatlings. I don't think this variant has railguns. It has 4 colossal boosters, or no, 4 mega boosters. They're called combat boosters in here. Yeah, but lots of Gatlings. This is supposed to be enough to take out drones in the central sector, but you need a pretty large ship with lots of hardware if you want to be able to clear the central sector. So some of the guiding principles are just to have all the blocks accessible, so you can repair them. Have wide areas that are facing the which are facing forward, so you can install hardware like weapons. At least 2 or 4 battle boosters, so you can move swiftly in battles. And mostly important blocks out of each category. For example, shields, they are also useful. Colossal tanks are gonna be useful for boosters because these boosters consume a lot of fuel. Also, the RCS consumes a lot of water. Another thing to keep in consideration is that asteroids spawn around. I'm not into a ship, so I'm technically not really moving right now. I'm just teleporting around. But asteroids, now saving, new game sandbox. Asteroids are gonna spawning around the station in the first place, and the further away you go, I think if you go 5 kilometers away from the station, they're also gonna spawn. So you can mine asteroids, and you've seen from the tutorial what resources asteroids give. The closer you get to the center of the galaxy, the rarer the resources. And in the central galaxy, you'll be getting lots of titanium, gold, uranium, and other important loot. Right here, you'll be in the outskirts of the galaxy. You'll all be getting um, low-level resources like silicon, iron, or copper, or niter, or something like that. So you want to do the mining closer to the center of the galaxy. Uh, Other important aspects of the game: you can play multiplayer. Uh, you have the option for multiplayer when you're starting or when you're clicking the continue new game or when you're continuing a game. There are free providers for the connection. You have a direct IP connection that's good for LAN, or if you want to host a dedicated server on a public IP, you have Photon, which adds a relay server, but only 20 players can play at a time on the entire game, not on one server. So it has some limits, but it's plug and play. You just start it, you just click Photon and start, and anyone can join your game by seeing your game in here and pressing join. So it's the most convenient. And then you have Steam, which is a bit experimental. Steam has lots of problems with networking. Um, it takes a long time to connect, and it's very hard to figure out when you are disconnected. So sometimes you can have desyncs in that matter, but you can any amount of players can play at a time. Uh, on top of that, you have different game types used in training, sandbox, campaign. You have a challenge that will spawn you into a uh, a wreckage, which you have to use your shotgun that you start with to take out these turrets without dying. It might seem easy, and I might make it look like it's easy. It's not. Uh, it's almost. I don't remember actually finishing this challenge without taking any damage. I always take some damage, even if it's just one. Uh, then once you finish this challenge, once you clear this wreckage, get the suit and get to the station. On top of this, you can sell the shotgun buy a new ship, and continue the game as a challenge, as an added bonus to start the game without any ship. You can also do the quick action, which will spawn about 30 waves each 5 minutes. One wave per 5 minutes, which is very hard. I finished both of them. You can see in previous streams a guide on how to do, or more like a playthrough on how to do both of them if you want to try them as an added challenge. Then you have Planet Survival, which spawns you. You've crashed on the planet and you have to build a rover. You have to place a rover, get to different bases, gather loot, return here, repair this wreckage into your ship and leave the planet, and then continue to the central sector. Then you have the hard planet survival, which just spawns you on a planet with no atmosphere, so you constantly have to replenish the oxygen from your suit with a uh, with an oxygen reserve. Let me quickly find it to show you how that works. Oxygen reserve. Here it is. So basically, your suit, you can use these oxygen reserves. You can fill them at the oxygen tank by holding F, and then you can ingest this oxygen or pour it into your own suit to replenish it. Other things. So the hard part about the planet survival is that you have to constantly resupply your suit with oxygen before you'll be able to pressurize your wreckage, because in the beginning the wreckage is not pressurized, and you have to fix all the breaches, and until you finish patching the ship, you might not even get to have a pressurized ship until you get to the first base. Other things, you'll be able to craft several types of weapons. Most interesting are Maz, Combat SMG, pistol, and perhaps a shotgun. Each of them takes a specific type of ammo. You'll have the rocket launcher, which is useless. Let's quickly test them all. So this is the Combat SMG. It's extremely powerful, fast, and it deals a lot of damage. There's Maz, which deals very much damage. It's several times more powerful than the Combat SMG. You can also see the damage, or at least the ammo. The damage is with the bullet itself, so you can see this 9mm ammo damages turrets with 6, and this damages turrets with 200 multiplied by 0.2. So this deals 40 damage, and this deals 12 damage. You have the shotgun. You've seen that in the previous game types, in the challenge game type. And then there's the rocket launcher, which is not really that useful. It's nice if you want to disable ships and you don't have one ship. You just want to get out of your ship and by hand, with surgical precision, get close to a ship and disable it like that. You have your basic pistol and the SMG. Other things that are interesting in here, pouches. You can use pouches to both. Let me get inside. There's this lip that's gonna prevent me from getting inside. You can take and you can also store. This is how you take liquids from a wreckage and pour them onto your ship. Same with batteries. I've shown that before. You have different types of foods. Various foods give you different bonuses. Like some give a lot of food and consume or draw your toilet. Others give a lot of morale, like ice cream. Others gives a lot of water and health, and so on. I've shown you how hydroponics works. You can plant in hydroponics either seeds or crops themselves. Like these are all the plants in the game. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 plants. Each of one represent a specific type of food. You have proteins, carbohydrates, fats, sugars, your basic potatoes and tomatoes, but they have different names and they are different from their reality counterparts. Other things is another interesting thing is how do you use the creative mode. You have to press F1 to toggle God mode, no, to toggle creative mode, and F2 to toggle God mode. Shift to move 10 times faster. Shift control move a lot faster. You have TP, which teleports you to the closest friendly ship. You have help, which shows you all the commands that you can run. You can even use voice control. You can enable voice control from menu. Okay, so if I go into a ship, I forgot the commands. Computer initiate self-destruct. Initiate self-destruct. Computer initiate self-destruct sequence. Initiate self-destruct sequence. Nah, that's not the command. Help detailed. Voice commands. Let's see what's the command for self-destruct. That's the funniest command. Target things, fire, disable sensors, teleport wreckage, power up engines. Computer initiate self-destruct sequence. Computer initiate self-destruct sequence. Authorization Delta 9. Cancel self-destruct. Teleport hostile. Teleport hostile. Ouch, 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 ouch. Teleport friendly. And it teleport friendly. Teleport friendly. Okay, what was the command? Teleport station. Teleport ship. Okay, so this teleports me back to my ship if you have creative enabled. So you have voice controls, you have God mode, you have to F3 toggles the creative menu where you can spawn any item. You can you have various commands like stop AI, so you can pause a fight, move or spawn more ships, then resume, move blocks, move the hull, rotate the hull, some statistics, accelerate ships, stop ships, change light, toggle suits. Then you have ships, or you have all the ships that you have available in the game, as well as all of your personal ships. You can press F6 while inside of a ship to save that design, and it will appear in this list, and you can spawn it from this list. You can change to act faction to be spawned. You can spawn the vehicle and some options for spawning. You have F4, which will, if inside of the ship with creative enable, will start up all the systems from that ship. F5 toggles the UI. F6 toggles F6 saves the ship. F7 toggles the console. If you have some logs, if there are some errors, you can see them in here. F8 spawns a wave, if I'm not mistaken. And F9 and F10, I think they do screenshot and toggle between something else. I forgot what the rest of them do. You can change the controls, especially so F11 changes the canvas mode. You can change lots of controls. You can have up to 3 controls per or 3 binds per control. You have lots of options. You can send a feedback, something that I will be able to read. You can see the installed mods. You can install mods. I don't think I have any load. Oh, I have several mods right now on this build. For example, if you install a mod, it will remain with the game, and this mod added more tabs, added new SMG, added a recipe from it. There are several types of things you can mod. Uh, so yeah, you can modding just modding is made out of a folder that contains some JSON files. You need to change some properties. You can add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, about 15 types of different entities like audio, items, game types, missions, ships, and so on. And just put those files into a folder, and that folder put it in the mods folder, and it will appear here. You can enable and disable, and if you enable the mod, it will be shown in that mod list for that game. Other than that, you have links for social. You can change your name, see some statistics for your player. You have the manual if you want to read through some tips. You have the scoreboard showing how fast can you finish the game in the sandbox default settings. I'm basically almost the only person in here, sadly. What other aspects of the game would you be interested in? You have the mainframe. After you build it, it will automatically rotate the turrets. Let me just quickly build the mainframe. Well, it looks like this. After you build it, you can power it from the electronics console, and you can have turrets track the target and automatically fire at targets. You can also have the mainframe automatically redistribute shields and automatically switch targets and auto-target hostiles. Gatlings, and there are the 5 types of weapons. Railguns are basically very fast, they go through shields. Rockets and deal a lot of damage to subsystems. Rockets deal a lot of damage to shields. Plasma cannons deal a lot of damage to shields. Gatlings are somewhere in the middle, they are good, averagely good against everything. You can build you can build windows. So I'm scrapping this. I don't have nowhere to craft it, so I'll just spawn one if I can find it. Yep. So you can build not here. Where can I build it? So if I remove this window here, I can build a window here, one here to have more light, or to have a nicer look of the outside of the ship. You have lights. You can change between alarms. They can trigger lights and sound. Yellow automatically. Let's silence that. Yellow automatically pops up when a hostile ship appears. Red pops up when you take damage. Other functions from here. You have doors. You can. Oh, I haven't shown you the doors. Doors are very fun. Automate all. So I usually scrap them, but you can keep them. They're kind of nice. You can individually stop them. You can open or close them, or automate them, or deautomate them. You can also open all of them, automate, close, deactivate all of them. Same for the airlocks. You can open it. Wait, let me just open all doors. So yeah, I've opened it. Close both. Then I can depressurize and control the airlocks from the from this console. I can request docking from this console or from this side, like this. Weapons, there's nothing else interesting on this part. I've shown you all of the important things from here. You can have also a cargo door that you can build. Let me quickly show you. And I've scrapped the battery. And not this cargo door, which you can open, but be careful when you are in space not to depressurize the ship and suffocate. You have two types of two antennas, one simple and one advanced, which gives the advanced one gives more range. And I would say this is mostly everything. I've already told you about the lift. You can build two of them or even more of them and travel between them. Any other interesting? You can craft a hand crank generator in case you get stuck. So you run out of energies and you need energy to power up the ship. Just look at one battery. Battery, nitrogen. You're gonna slowly charge a battery just enough so you can power up a fuel cell or energy console or a solar panel, deploy them and produce energy that way. So this is the hand crank generator. You can craft it at the workstation. What other interesting things you can craft? Solar panels are extremely overpowered. With them you can have infinite energy. And overall there's not much. You have the medical station that can heal you up. An item holder that you can use to store things. A small, and this is a large one. So you can just put things in there. And retrieve them. RCS rocket launchers you've seen. Turrets you've seen. A hook gun. It basically, you just aim it at something. Fire is gonna fire at 1 per second. It's gonna grab whatever item hit. Then it's gonna put it in its inventory. That's extremely useful for mining. Shields you have to charge slowly. You okay? Let's put them into a more powerful ship. Shields are also interesting, so you have to build them. This ship has one shield here, one there. This ship has 4 shields. From this console, you can switch them to charge mode, and after they've charged a bit, they charge with 1 HP per second per emitter. After they've charged enough, you can deploy them. While they're deployed, you cannot recharge them. If you want to recharge them, you have to switch them to charge mode. You can also change which one to have more power. The automaton I've shown you. It's very good for farming at least. Let's enable everything. This is the animation when everything powers up. I can even show you the let's quickly adjust the power. Let me show you how mining works. I'm picking one asteroid using planner or navigation assist to get me to the target, using the Gatlings to take it out, and then I can use the hook guns to get close to the after I've gotten closer to the doors, I can use the hook gun to pick up all the ore. And the ore is in the container of the hook guns. There are several strategies that you can use. You can get close to a drone if you want in combat to be more proficient. That way your hits are going to be way more effective. You can hide behind wreckages. You can kite drones, so just keep them out of their range, let them follow you while you're repairing, then get back into combat. Uh, in terms of strategies, always try to be as what was I saying in combat? Always try to overpower drones. Always have more ammunition that you need, because you're gonna run out of power, especially with run out of ammunition, especially with the colossal and mega variants, which consume a lot of ammunition. On top of that, another thing to mention is a normal playthrough, at least how I would recommend it for the sandbox. In the first part, you have to do the missions enough to get enough resources, including larger boosters, hydrogen, and a lithographic laser to craft the semiconductor fabricator crafter block. After you got all of these, you have enough resources to get to a planet, then loot a lot in the planet to get the alien artifacts, and perhaps a soul relic to craft more advanced blocks. Then move on to the central sectors, where you can do a lot of mining to craft to finish expanding the ship, and from that point on, just finalize the sector, loot and not loot, finish the waves from the central sector. This is a normal gameplay in my opinion. You can keep your weapons deactivated when not in combat to save up energy in the first part of the game when you don't have that much energy. Always toggle between weapons when you're not automatically firing. So if you have railguns and gatlings, don't fire them manually at the same time, because they require different directions to be fired onto. When you die, all your stats except for health go to 20%, and you drop your inventory when you've died. If you are not careful and you hit the ship too much, especially if you crash into the planet, you remain with very low HP, and if you crash it even more, the ship is gonna blow up, and you'll basically lose the entire ship, and you'll be teleported to the station. From the station, you can buy a new ship if you manage to get resources, but I doubt it. And I would say this is mostly everything that you need to know. This is the basic crash course for how to play Adrorium. Well, crash course, a 2 or 3 hour lecture on how to play and how to properly get a grip on all the fundamentals. But knowing all of this, you should be able to get into the fight and finish the game easily. I'd say I usually finish the game in a few hours, 3-4 hours. But it might take you about 20 hours to finish the first time. However, I would expect you to die a lot and to retry from beginning several times. Also, you have this screen. I briefly glanced at it quickly, but haven't fully explained it. You have your ship with shields if they're active, your subsystems, design of the ship, energy grids and liquid grids. Last one is nitrogen, which is not implemented. Ship, you can rename your ship. Rename ship and no caps. Rename ship. No name. And you'll see the name pop up here. You also have the target. You can target the information for the target. You can target lots of things, including planets, wreckages, drones, your own other of your own ships, asteroids, asteroid fields, beacons, and you'll get statistics for them as well. You also get stats for your propulsion, so your boost forward, your forward boosting power, your aft boosting power, your vertical boosting power. Wow, this is how much you can move. This is how much you can accelerate. You can accelerate 61 kilometers per second. This is clearly incorrect, because I press space. I'm not moving by that much. I wonder why. Yeah, that's definitely incorrect. Perhaps it's 61 meters per second per second. You have rotations, how much time until the next wave. Usually at the beginning of the game you're gonna know how many waves are in that sector. So this is in this sector you'll get waves, and how long it will take to get to the next wave. You also get the full size of the ship, and I'd say this is it. So I'm gonna be ending the stream now. My voice is not gonna be uh, keeping up with me anyways. This will be the last stream that I do for the Steam Space Fest, since this is the last day of the festival. I've been doing various streams including speedruns, trying all the game types, doing some interesting challenges in this week, and it's been fun. Today is the last day, and I thought that ending up on a tutorial or onboarding or a small crash course into the game, or a long crash course into the game, will be a nice ending. So, thank you for tuning in. I've been Beholder, developer of Adrorium. I might stream at some point in the future, but for now this is gonna be the last stream, at least for this festival. So this being said, transmission over. Thank you for tuning in.